everyone, Tony from Hack the Movies here. This week is the 40th anniversary of E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial. I thought it'd be fun to go back and talk about the awful 2002 special edition director's cut, and then afterwards talk about some other bad director's cuts. Let's get into it. This video is sponsored by Aura. 12, 13, 14...
Oh no! All my money's gone!
Let me guess, you were just the victim of identity theft.
How did you know?
Identity theft is the fastest growing crime in America, and it claims a new victim every 14 seconds.
I'm locked out of all my accounts. I'm getting all these notifications about credit card purchases I didn't make.
How does your crypto account look?
Cryptic.
Well, good news! I partnered up with today's sponsor, Aura.
Aura?
It provides identity theft protection, fraud monitoring, and password management. It's also a VPN and antivirus software all in one app.
Wow! It monitors the dark web from my email and social security number and sends me an alert.
And it sends it 4 times faster than Aura's competitors. Aura found my email address on 2 dark websites. It's also working to get my email out of the hands of data brokers so I can stop getting spam and robocalls. Sign up for a free trial and let us know in the comments how many times your personal information was found. You might be shocked at the number.
Protect yourself from America's fastest growing crime. Try Aura for 2 weeks and see if you or your family's personal information has been compromised.
Go to aura.com/hackthemovies to start your free trial today. Hello, Joe. Hello, Sean from Movie Dumpster.
Hello, Tony from Hack the Movies.
I am from Hack the Movies. How you guys doing?
Good.
Pretty good.
He said what I was going to say. So.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
This used to be Movie Dumpster Video.
Yeah, I saw that video.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, I saw the video.
You might even have appeared in it somehow through the magic of Joe Buchanan.
Somehow I did. Now let's talk about E.T., the story that touched the world. The Extra-Terrestrial. I think it's safe to say we all love this movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say a resounding yes. It's
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
It's a very good movie for the whole family. It's very well directed. The effects were pretty impressive for the time. E.T. does look a little bit like a puppet, like an obvious puppet, but for the most part, you're so like enamored with the story and everything that you kind of gloss over whatever flaws the effects might have because you just fall in love with the character so much.
Right.
Yes, and
Reese's Pieces, of course.
and Reese's Pieces.
Yeah.
Now the movie, a lot of these movies always had like, that's the thing. Whenever they release a director's cut, keep in mind the movie's probably already changed several times, and we're going to talk about that when we get to one of these movies. So he had already made like changes during the years, but when they got to the 20th in 2002, he decided, well, you know, those special editions worked out so well for George.
I mean, they made a shit ton of money.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, so he was like, you know what? I'm going to do that with E.T. Now, there were some things that he really wanted to change since the original.
Mhm.
You notice this poster here.
Yum.
And the Amblin logo is Elliot in front of the moon with the cape. Iconic logo. He really, really liked that. Not in the movie. He does not have a cape in the final film of the original cut.
Absolute trash.
Yes.
Can you believe it?
Because at that point, I believe it was stop motion, right?
It might have. It's definitely miniatures. I don't.
Yes.
If it was stop motion, I don't know why they wouldn't just animate the cape.
I
If
can-
they were going to,
I can
do it that
imagine
way.
going frame by frame with a cape waving would have been rough.
Yeah.
Ray Harryhausen.
Yeah, but you know,
Steven Spielberg, giant blockbuster movie.
there also
Doesn't
could
have
have
the
been a
budget
thing
for
where
that.
like maybe something with the blue screen. I don't know
Listen,
because it definitely was composited.
Sure.
Yeah.
listen. You're gonna get into the rest of this.
Yes.
I see where you're going with this.
So that was a change that. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for letting me finish that thought.
Sorry.
That is a change that I think. Okay, fine. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know who was on message boards. God damn it, that cape wasn't on there. It ruins the
I mean,
It was Tony.
It makes sense because a lot of people have that false memory of him having a cape because it's
Sure.
on the poster. It's on the Amblin logo.
It's something I never fucking thought about.
Yeah.
Ever.
Because at that point, you're in on the story. It doesn't matter if he's wearing a cape or whatnot. He's
well,
flying with E.T. over the moon.
It's purely cosmetic at that point.
Yeah.
And it's just people going, damn it, you just didn't have that cape.
So that's the thing. Spielberg's sitting there like, I really wanted that cape. I really wanted that cape.
That's all that is.
So he sees what George
got a Wampa
Yeah.
And
so
a Jabba.
he sees
and
that.
a Joppa.
He sees that and he's like, okay, I can now add and tweak a few things there. And it's like, sure, why not? Doesn't change the scene, really. I get it. But then, he's like, well, you know what? E.T.'s mouth doesn't really match the words enough.
Did he really? I haven't seen the director's cut of this, by the way.
Oh, you're a
You've
lucky
never
man.
seen it?
You're a very lucky
Never
man.
seen
I
it.
remember all the buzz around it, but I just was like, I have it already. Do I need it?
Yes. So, yeah, he wanted to match up the words a little bit, so he, like, puts a CGI E.T. face on E.T.
No.
So the words can match. And even though I don't agree with it, those scenes aren't too terrible.
Is it every scene? that
Not
he's
every
talking?
scene. Not every
Okay.
scene. But then he's like, well, E.T. has to run away from the bad guys. Let's do a CGI E.T. jumping up and literally. He's bouncing up and down. He's bouncing up and down. You know the scene where like Elliot
Be good.
when Elliot finds him like in outside
Yeah.
and it's all creepy, you can barely see him.
Yeah.
Well, you can still kind of barely see him with the flashlight, but they even made that digital of him being like, ah!
Why? That's such a creepy, weird scene.
I don't know.
I like it the way it is.
I don't know. It's jarring. You watched it this morning.
I watched
right?
it this morning, and it's like some of those scenes. I get it, like Tony's saying, moving the mouth. I think it is useless. You don't need it, but sure, whatever. But it's like, yeah, some of these just like some scenes are still the original actress in the makeup.
Yeah.
You know, in the prosthetics.
Yeah.
But a lot of it,
Who's in Ghoulies, by the way, which we'll talk
Oh.
about later. Anyway.
and just while we're talking about it, I read this. The voice actor of E.T. also did I forget the name of the character, but in Return of the Jedi, that Leia was disguised as.
Oh, the
Khonshu?
bounty hunter.
Boosh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bausch, whatever it says.
Which I was like, oh shit, yeah, you're right. Anyway, but yeah, there's a lot of scenes of what E.T. reactions, which with that puppet look fucking great in the original, and it's just like way over the top. It does that thing that everyone that likes movies hates,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, like Tony said, yeah, sometimes it does just still look like a puppet, but for the most part, it looks like this could be an alien, sure, whatever. But you do the CG, it's like, oh, we really need to see its tongue stick out into the potato salad.
Blend well with the puppet at all. And keep in mind, it's like 2002 CGI, but not like good 2000. It's not Gollum 2002
it also wasn't.
CGI.
It wasn't shot for that.
No.
That's the thing,
And
that's
there's
why
no
it's
reason
so...
to just go wholesale on a CG ET.
It-
Make
that's
his
the
neck
same
go
thing.
up and down a bunch of times.
Why?
And if you're new here, we recently did worst Star Wars movies, so we talked about the special editions at
Yeah.
great length. But it's not as bad as that. But it is on that level where it's like, okay, I know when this movie takes place. I've seen this movie. Now that I see these goofy, cartoony things running around, I'm now out of it. I'm like, this isn't right. This doesn't look right.
We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to Clash of the Titans. We're gonna cover up all of the stop motion in that because it just looks too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. And like they added that scene. Remember
the bathtub scene?
The bathtub
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
What is that?
It's just an extra scene of Elliot and E.T. at home.
In a tub together?
Yeah, he's like showing him the
yeah.
He's like showing him the bathroom and everything, but since it was a new scene, they decided he's mostly CGI in that scene.
Yeah, because it was originally, it's like the Jabba scene from A New Hope. It's a
Yeah.
deleted scene that they couldn't make work in post, so they just put it on the shelf, and then 20 years later, oh, we got this thing, let's CGI him in there.
Was that
Yeah.
after E.T. had a bunch of beers?
No, it was
This
before
is
that. scene.
pre-beer,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But yeah, in that part, he's mostly CGI, and he's like walking around, he's jumping in the bathtub, and it's just like.
He almost drowns.
And also, you don't need that scene. The movie works without that scene because you're already getting enough of those kinds of scenes.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very jarring. I'm shocked. One thing he had restraint for, he did not add back in the Harrison Ford cameo.
Didn't even know there was one.
You didn't know about that?
Of all the things,
So-
why wouldn't they put that in?
So Harrison Ford, I believe, and I get things wrong sometimes. Not as much as you, but I get things wrong sometimes. So let me know if I'm wrong. I believe he was like dating or married to the screenwriter of this. So he's in the movie after Elliot like lets all the frogs out and stuff. The mom has to go to the school. And at this point, there's a fun little thing in E.T. If you never noticed it, they don't show any adult faces until the government breaks into their house at the end.
Besides the mom, obviously.
Besides the mom.
Yeah.
And I guess sometimes they have a TV on, you see characters.
Sure,
whatever.
yeah.
But all the characters, because the movie is being mostly told from the kid's point of view.
Yeah.
And like their mom is the only like important one in their life.
And it's
whatnot.
really good visual storytelling, honestly.
Wait a second, Tony. The internet told me that Stranger Things came up with that idea, but you're telling me E.T. came up with this idea in the 80s?
Listen.
It wasn't Stranger Things?
Sean.
Holy shit!
Sean, if we want to point fingers, E.T.'s ripping off Charlie Brown. Okay? It's because you never see the adults in Charlie Brown.
It's true. Oh, he even wears the ghost costume, too,
Yes.
at one point, yeah.
If anything, all the adults should have just went, wah, wah,
Gets
wah,
a rock.
wah, wah,
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to say that because that's something that I hear people say the last few years, and to a point, sure.
Yeah,
but
there's
it's
also
like
a
the whole ending where they're saving E.T. while he's dying. Like, how is that not people thinking, oh yeah, like kind of like E.T. or Goonies or any of those other
Or
anyway.
Explorers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just had to get that out of my system.
You picked the most obscure one.
What?
You're like, an Explorer. It's like, yeah.
Fucking better movie, dude. What do you want?
Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah,
Well,
there you go.
Anyway, I've seen-
Quest, there's a deep cut for you.
Okay.
That one I don't
With
know.
Elliot.
I grew up with Explorers and Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah. Little Monsters.
God, no.
Dude, that movie fucking rules.
The Savage Brothers.
Joe, there's a wire crossed in your brain. We gotta fix it.
I think everybody else has the problem.
One day you're gonna step on the brake too hard, bounce your head, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, you're gonna be like, holy shit, Critters is bad. I don't know what.
No, that's the day that I'd never wake up from that car
That
crash.
says Munchie's bad, and then he just continues driving off the cliff because it's finally hit him.
You want to know why? Because then he'll save my ass like that flying pizza pie, and I'll go fucking flying with Crookshank.
You're gonna be like, how many times have I watched To Catch a Yeti? Oh god. Anyway.
Well, that would ruin
Back
anybody.
to this movie.
That one's bad.
Back to this movie.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford. You don't see his face in the scene, and
Okay.
he's doing like a goofy accent.
It's a cruel world out there. Deceit, treachery.
Then who could care?
Yeah, but the scene like
Is
doesn't.
he playing Indiana Jones like as a teacher?
No. and the scene's not good. Like Elliot, E.T. makes Elliot's chair fly in the office, and the principal doesn't see it, and it's like a weak effect. It's one of the,
That's like the fucking Ewok village with
Yeah.
C-3PO.
Oh yeah.
so I'm shocked he didn't put that scene in there. If he was just going all out, because George would have put that scene back
Yeah.
in, like the awful Java scene.
Where's the C-3PO scene with Harrison?
Yeah.
So that's some of the changes. One of the two big ones that people were talking about constantly, other than the CGI.
Sure.
The mom. This is this
D. Wallace, everybody.
Yeah,
by the
D.
way,
Wallace.
yeah.
Yes.
Which, by the way, they
Our
had-
icon.
I read that they had already changed this in previous like television edits and stuff, and no one noticed. But the mom is yelling at the older brother. D. Wallace is yelling at the older brother, and she says, "You can't go out like that. You're not going out as a terrorist." That was the original line in the movie because
This is the Halloween scene?
It was Halloween.
Yeah, when he looks like a hobo, he looks like
But
Red Skelton.
It's before you see him as it's implied that he had a different costume
Oh,
on, and
okay.
she yelled at him. So apparently there was a television edit where it just says you're not going out like that, and then it cuts off. But for the film edit, when he released it, it's like, oh, we don't want to mention terrorists because people are sad about that now. So it changes it to you're not going out like that. You're not going out like a hippie.
No, I mean it. You are not going as a hippie.
All the guys are.
And when you look at the brother, I'm like, I know he wears like a no nukes thing, but he didn't really strike me as like a 60s hippie fan.
Doesn't he have like a pot on his head? Looks
Something
like Johnny
like that.
Appleseed or some shit.
Something like that.
If I'm remembering that.
And then, of course, the biggest change when they do CGI the kids flying.
You don't say.
Which looks worse somehow.
Yes.
But continue.
But
it's 20 years, 40 years later.
Now, if I was working for a secret government agency and I had to make sure aliens don't like destroy the world, am I going to carry a big ass rifle or a walkie-talkie?
A big ass rifle, of course.
Well, Spielberg, when he was re-editing this, he's like, "Oh, I have kids now. Guns are going to scare them. Why would the bad men shoot the kids?" And it's like, well, no, they would shoot the alien.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Because it's a space alien. They don't know what its intentions are. So they digitally replaced their rifles with walkie-talkies. And people have made fun of this for years.
Yeah.
There's the famous South Park episode where they have to stop George Lucas and Spielberg from releasing Raiders of the Lost Ark. Remember?
Yes, I
Remember they're
remember.
showing Save a Private Ryan and they're on the beach with the walkie-talkie?
Oh, yeah.
But it's such a stupid change. And by the way, those are big rifles. They probably took a really long time to rotoscope those out.
I remember specifically seeing there was the shots because they only show like the keys and the hands and stuff like that of them walking through the forest. Wasn't there like a handgun at one point in one of their hands and then it turned into a walkie-talkie?
That one they might have actually left in, but it's
Specifically,
it's, so
it's the
by
one with the cop cars.
Okay.
And them flying in between the cop cars.
Yeah, because the scene in the beginning, I think they also do it, but not as obviously, because it's a lot of dark, shadows where he's hopping around.
And it's just a stupid change. It doesn't amount to anything. And like, it probably took a really long time to do. And I know that.
And a lot of money.
Yeah, and I know that because believe it or not, I know this is coming out in June. We're shooting this in January, specifically for this scene. Now, I'm holding a rifle right now, but digitally, Jessica's making it look like a walkie-talkie.
Is it
Isn't that
loaded?
crazy?
Is that loaded?
It's probably not loaded. It's
Okay.
fine. It's
All right.
fine.
All right.
But yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jessica now has to rotoscope everything.
Whoa.
Guy, it's fine. It's fine.
Point
It's
that
fine.
thing this way?
She has to rotoscope and like digitally remove the walkie-talkie.
No!
Guys, stop! You're supposed to pretend it's a walkie-talkie. Yeah, and it's just. Believe it or not, this
Would you
is
stop waving that in my face?
like.
Yeah, this might help. I don't
That might help. It's taking a really long time.
Miami connection.
We are wasting so much time and money right now turning this rifle into a walkie. It's getting a little heavy. I'm gonna. Put it back.
Whoa!
Sorry.
Trigger discipline, Tony.
You dropped it and it just went off.
I'm sorry. E.T., the director's cut, the special edition, totally ruins the flow of the movie. It takes you out of the... Maybe if you've never seen E.T. before and you're a young kid, maybe you'll be fine with
I
this
think it'll
version.
be fine
Of
if
course.
you've never seen it yet.
Because, I mean, it still has all the stuff you like. But
Isn't there like shots with like his spaceship and stuff at the end?
the spaceship looks...
Yeah.
It's definitely, like, remastered, but it doesn't look like it was replaced digitally.
Okay.
So from rewatching it, it looks like they redid all the way the lights are presented, and there's even some additional like purple lights they add when the
Okay.
spaceship comes in, which doesn't look bad. But when there's a side by side you can find on YouTube, or
Yeah.
maybe Tony's showing in this video right now, where it shows like what it looked like before and after. And I honestly thought the old version looked better. It's just lit differently. That's it. And it's the same thing with some of these other additional scenes they cleaned up, like them flying on the bikes. They like moved the lens flare a little bit so
Yeah.
you can see the background more. It's like little shit.
Yeah.
But you did say when they released this on Blu-ray, it's got both versions.
Well,
right?
in DVD, even
DVD.
this is the special edition, the 20th anniversary limited collector's edition. I like that it's the moon.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's kind of
But and this is why people don't bring this one up as much as they do the Star Wars special editions. I remember when he was plugging this, he's like, "Hey, on DVD, I'm including both versions of the movie, so you have the original theatrical release."
Which is cool
And he's since regretted doing this.
Oh, really?
because he couldn't double dip on the DVD sales.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
bitch.
No. I mean, he's since regretted doing the
Oh.
re-edit in general.
I thought you meant releasing.
Oh, I think
both
we're
movies.
fucking with him.
Because after getting all like the complaints and stuff, I
sure.
think it set in. It's like, oh, I guess this movie does. He's like, I guess it's like, I personally feel like this could have been better. But the audience, the people who really connected with this film and
Yeah.
grew up with it, it was fine to them. And at the end, I'm making it for them, and that's all that really matters.
You could have literally just did a 20th anniversary re-release in theaters and with like a special edition DVD, and that would have been enough.
And I don't
made your
even
money.
mind, like-
and you didn't have to spend any money.
I don't
either.
even mind like restorations and cleaning up some of the
Yeah, no,
effects
big
and
time, yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah.
Not like replacing or
No,
whatever,
no.
but like cleaning up like, the mats and whatnot.
i.e. the snowspeeder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which all that stuff I was fine with.
Sure.
But yeah, it's pretty bad. Now let's talk about some other bad director's cuts.
Can I say one more thing about E.T.
Oh, yeah, sure,
before
sure,
we move on?
sure.
Look, I haven't watched any E.T. reviews or deep dive anything, and I've never really even talked about it in in a way like this.
Me either.
So I wanted to ask you guys. I think it's pretty heavily implied in the movie, but Elliot's dad, who left them, is one of the FBI agents.
What? No?
No, I just thought he was a scumbag piece of shit that cheated on his mom and
Yeah.
fucking fled the country.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe I thought it because there's that one dude that's always monitoring
There's
them.
Keys. Keys says he came to me when I was a little kid, and I've been waiting for this for years. So it's implied that maybe he made contact with an ET
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah,
earlier.
That's fair. I mean, I could see where you're coming from, though. If I didn't just watch it, and I've seen this movie like 50 times,
Sure,
I would have forgotten that.
And I
Yeah.
never know if he's lying to Elliot at that point, just to get him to talk.
Yeah.
But no, his dad is in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
He hates Mexico.
Well, that's what he
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
Exactly. He hates Mexico. He's in Roswell. That's what I'm saying.
I'll say one last thing, too. Just I know it doesn't exist anymore, and it's a shame for new ET fans if you're out there. The ride in Universal was fucking amazing.
They got rid of the ET ride?
It's gone?
I don't know if it's still there, but this is definitely not a second take. The ET ride in Universal, for any new ET fans, if you haven't been on it, I know they updated it when this version came out. They added some of the CGI ET shit. But that ride I have really fond memories of. You give like your name at the end, and they'd have like an ET readout of it.
Yeah.
I did Egon once on mine. It was like Egon. And I was like, close
Yeah,
enough.
we would always like put in stupid ass names to see if
that's
it would
funny
like
as hell.
screw up our name.
I love waiting online for that ride in
Oh,
that big
yeah,
giant forest.
Yeah, that was cool. You see like the astronaut dude.
It's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I have a candle. I forget who made. I think it's called like park themed candles or whatever, park candles. But it smells like the ET ride, and it's incredible. It smells just like it.
That's cool.
I just wanted to mention that because I think it's cool, and,
Yeah.
and this is kind of a timeless classic to me. It's not even like my top 50 films, but it's an easy 5-star movie every time you put it on. It's like,
Yeah,
God
it's
damn,
good.
this is
Unless you watch this version.
Well, then it goes down to like at least 2 stars.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
let's talk about other bad director's cuts. Sean, do you want to start? We'll go down the line.
Sure. I brought 2, but I'll start with my main one, I
Okay.
guess. Crank.
Okay.
It's a very good, in my opinion, Jason Statham action film from 2006, where basically, if you haven't seen it, the setup is Jason Statham's a hitman. He gets some kind of Chinese cocktail, some unknown Chinese concoction, I don't know, injected into him, and then basically he's gonna die if he doesn't keep his adrenaline up. And the whole movie is him doing one crazy stunt after another, driving his car through the mall, riding a motorcycle, like standing on it and shit, and he's getting after the gang members that set him up.
Yeah.
Great movie, fast-paced, shot on those red cameras when they were brand new. I forget the exact
I remember
name.
it has that like overexposed look
Yes,
that a lot
yes.
of movies were doing at that time.
And I'll get to the director's cut in a second, but I'll just say it again. It's a very fast-paced movie. That's kind of the point. There's a few slow scenes, but it's really just a cool off before the next big rapid-fire section. So they do a director's cut of this. And I feel like I couldn't find any information on this, whether the directors approved it or not. But 'cause I guess my point is I don't know if this was a cash-in for the sequel that came out a few years after. However, the director's cut of this movie fucking ruins the movie.
Yeah.
Because it does this thing that a lot of director's cuts do this, from my experience, is, all right, well, this scene was 10 seconds. Now it's 11 seconds. All right, the next scene, it's like 8 seconds. Now it's 10 seconds.
I hate
All right,
when they do that.
Yeah, it's one of those because it's just, again, it's a very fast-paced movie, and it's like you have all these like weird extra scenes, and it's like, okay, you know. It's one of those things, like, if you saw it for the first time, maybe it wouldn't bother you as much.
Yeah.
Much like E.T.
Yeah.
But just on a rewatch, I'm like, God damn, this movie.
You're right. It's got to be a fast-paced adrenaline thing. You can't even like adding seconds to stuff. Well,
Yeah, like there's one good scene they add. There's an elevator scene where he's talking to himself. He's like tripping on pills. And there's like this Asian guy in the elevator with him, and they do this pretty good because there's a lot of visual jokes in this movie, like subtitles that appear on screen, and then it's like from the other guy's POV, and the subtitles are reversed, and you can still kind of make them out. So they add some jokes there that are funny. And there's like a Michael Myers joke in there. There's a scene where to get himself like, pumped up, he hits himself with some fucking hammers and nails and shit, hammers nails into his leg. But other than that, it's really just taking this movie that's very tight all the way around and just kind of ruins it for me. And if you know what I'm talking about, I would assume you agree with me.
Yeah.
But that was one that came to mind for me, besides my first pick that you already fucking covered, Star Wars.
yeah, we all that's the thing. We covered it so well in that other episode.
Yeah, and I said that to you before we jumped on. I was like, that's got to be the worst director's
That
cut.
really,
It really is.
because he kept making it worse as the years went
And
on.
just still kept messing with it.
I don't have a ton to really say beyond that.
Yeah.
I could talk about this movie for an hour, so if you ever want to come back
I had to give it
it
another chance. I just wasn't so into Jason Statham early on.
Yeah.
Him and another one of my buddies were watching this movie like nonstop.
Yeah.
Never fucking cared to watch it. I've never seen it.
It's got some political humor that maybe is very of the time.
I heard the second one's even crazier.
Oh, yeah, because the second one, they're just like, all right, first one was already over the top, kind of like a video game.
Might as well go crazier.
Yeah, there's like a kaiju fight with him and another guy.
Yeah, see, I might watch the first one just so I can watch that one, because that one seems
They
a bit-
grow gigantic?
I don't remember the semantics. I saw it once in theaters. I remember liking it, but never watched it.
Or is it like
again.
the E Honda Zangief thing?
It
from
might
Yeah,
be
they
like
might be something
that.
like that,
Okay.
yeah.
But like, basically the way this movie ends, it's like, how do you do a sequel? And the second one is, well, here's how. And he basically, instead of having it as adrenaline up, he's got to be like electrified or some bullshit.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he had like an electric thing they asked to keep
Heart,
charged,
yeah, electric heart.
What's the subtitle of the second one?
High voltage.
High voltage,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
but yeah,
or Tony, if you ever do top Jason Statham movies, it's between this and Transport.
I'd have
for
to
me.
watch more of them. I've
Yeah,
only
yeah.
seen like, I mean, I've seen a bunch, but not enough to like retain the information. I gotta like actually sit and watch them.
None of the Fast and Furious movies?
I don't know if they have the
Hobbs
director's
and
cuts.
Shaw?
Oh,
I don't know.
I've seen.
You said best Jason.
Yeah, no,
Statham.
I did. You're right. Jesus, I'm thinking about Crank. I mean, I prefer Transporter 2, honestly, even if it's a little sillier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I have one other pick if you want me to go into it or wait.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's
go
a
ahead.
quick one.
Yeah.
That was on my list, too.
Okay, I mean, we'll go right.
So
Mallrats.
I've seen Mallrats. I've never seen this director's cut of it though.
Okay, well, this is not, but
Okay.
that's the high school reunion one from 1999. But so the director's cut it's a weird one with Mallrats because Kevin Smith put it out as almost like a goof for the 20th anniversary and was like, yeah, this is the original cut of the film that everyone hated, so we recut it. But here you go if you want to see it. So it's kind of one of those ones. He did sign off on it, but he also acknowledges that the movie's way worse on this cut.
Okay.
And the main sticking point for that is, if you've seen the movie, it kind of opens. Well, I guess I'll set the plot up just a little bit if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Is you have TS and Brody. I forget the name. I know Jason Lee's Brody. I don't know TS who he is. But basically, their girlfriends both dumped them, and they hang out at the fucking mall. And you have shenanigans. Michael Rooker's there. He's like the overprotective father that they kind of butt heads with. Stan Lee makes an appearance. And it's the movie about them trying to get their girlfriends back. So they add
And
this.
that kid is back on the escalator.
That kid is back on the escalator again. Leave it alone. What?
He's back on the escalator
Sorry,
again.
that's like my favorite.
Yeah, it's Kevin Smith's second movie after Clerks, so that it's part of the View Askew universe or whatever, however you say that. So there's references.
Well, remember,
to
Clerks was gonna have a shitty ending where they like just get shot at the end.
Yeah,
I
Dante
remember
getting
that.
shot,
And it's
yeah.
like your movie doesn't earn that kind of dark ending. Sorry.
No, and thank God, because then we got the second one, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I do.
Oh, I hate that movie.
Aren't you so excited for Clerks 3, guys?
No.
I kind of am, to be honest. I want to see if it's gonna totally suck or be great.
Do
It's
you
gonna be
think-
no
do
in
you think
between.
Kevin
100%
Smith
good.
cried while making it?
Probably.
Do you think he
Probably.
cried after he made
It's
it?
his masterpiece.
Do you think he cried just waking up?
Well, he probably cried when he made this because he could finally pay off all those credit cards from Clerks that he still had
is also
maxed
true.
I
out.
hope he does a behind the scenes thing. It's like, oh, this is my crying vlog. 'Cause
Yeah.
He loves to film himself cry.
Um,
Look. I mean, I don't cry. I'm a tough guy. But it's fine if you cry. It's just like, just don't film it all the time like Kevin Smith does. He's constantly taking pictures and filming himself cry. It's like, dude,
It's for the clicks, dude.
yeah.
you're just get made fun of by assholes like me.
And it's giving him attention, isn't it?
You're right. Anyway.
Just to
So
finish,
going- yeah.
just to finish that point. So much like Crank, it does a similar thing where it just adds jokes to scenes, which is almost just as annoying if you've seen a movie that's like, oh, this has really good pacing, especially a comedy, and then it's like, oh, why'd they add that joke? That kind of
Oh,
sucks.
yeah, comedies do that. Like, I want to think, like, Anchorman did that.
The extended cut
Yeah.
of Forgetting Sarah Marshall does that, although I
Yeah.
will argue that's actually a pretty good extended cut.
That's the thing. Sometimes there are good things added, but a lot of times the jokes just run a little too long. I'll get back to Mallrats for a second.
Yeah.
But one that I kept seeing on these lists of, like, worst ones is, like, the extended cut of Badder Santa. But I love that version.
yeah,
I don't know what
yeah.
everyone's fucking talking about.
That's the only version I've seen of it.
Yeah, no, that
So,
version's great.
Yeah.
Is it just because it's too long?
I guess, but I think that version is great. I don't know why it's on the list. But anyway,
I mean, get me a wooden pickle, Tony. I'll take it. But yeah, Mallrats. There's that stuff, and they have a totally different opening that you could find again online. But it's basically the setup for why Michael Rooker hates TS, and it's just like you don't need it because it's already heavily implied just because he's dating his daughter.
Yeah.
And it's like this whole convoluted thing where like he's at a governor ball and TS is dressed like Paul Revere and he has a fucking musket on the roof and they think it's an active shooter.
Yeah.
Maybe he had a walkie-talkie, I'm not really sure. Maybe that's the extended director's cut, the final cut version.
It's a whole subplot that's just completely
and the whole point.
But it should have been.
It should have been. And it's just one of those weird things where, again, Kevin Smith admitted this is not the way to watch the movie. But it's a director's cut, and it's one that I was like, hey, I'll bring this to the table.
Well, it's reminding me of the Alien director's cut, which is not a director's cut.
Yeah.
Or it's like, well, I guess this is a cut that I did, but the theatrical is my director's cut.
Right.
Well, on that note, before I pass it to Joe or yourself, come on, guys. Return of the King, worst director's cut. That theatrical version cut out fucking Christopher Lee. That's a director's cut.
That
You know,
is a
Peter
director's cut. The
Jackson.
director made that cut, Joe. I don't know. Why would he cut out Christopher Lee's death? I don't understand.
I don't give a fuck. All three of those movies are masterpieces, the extended versions.
Oh, well, obviously, that's the preferred version to watch. I'm just saying, the Return of the King theatrical.
Which
you
is
made Christopher Lee cry in the theater. What are you? Come on, Peter.
That's the thing. So all three.
Are we doing that too?
Because that was very much a bit.
Okay,
Joe.
that
That
was
was a
just a
bit,
bit.
100%.
Sorry.
I will say though, of those three movies, you can watch them with or without the extended version. But the third one, losing Christopher Lee, that's like that needed to be in the movie. You can't just get. That's like.
I don't even fucking remember. Put it that way.
That's
Like I saw it once in the theater, and then every other time has been the extended version.
That's like Return of the Jedi, where it's Return of the Jedi, just like Darth Vader just left in the middle of the movie and they fought the Emperor. And it's like, okay, wait, what happened to that other guy?
Because I think it's like the theatrical. They just show up in Pippin and Mary are already got the food
They
and
basically
everything.
say like, oh, he's in the tower. He'll stay there.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, Joe, what did you bring in for bad direct? This was rough for you because you're like, I love all director's cuts.
For most stuff, because the thing is, like, a lot of the movies that we've talked about, or a lot of movies that I saw online for director's cuts, like, I don't really give a shit about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was the Watchman one. And
I think that's a good one.
Sure. I mean, I guess.
Well, my issue with Watchmen, I brought it up many times, is it's trying to be so slavishly faithful to the book.
Yeah.
And then, like, the last 20 minutes, it decides to start making changes.
Yeah.
And it's like, you should have changed more and condensed the story. So when I see the ultimate cut, I'm like, this is just making me madder at the ending that you changed it while being slavishly devoted to everything else.
But
Still the way to watch the movie, but continue.
I was gonna say most of the time, a lot of these i.e. Watchmen or Lord of the Rings, like those are the ways to watch the movie, to spend more time there with these characters and do all that stuff. With that being said, one of those films that shouldn't be like that is Dawn of the Dead. George Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
Oh.
There are 3 different versions of that movie.
Yes.
There's a theatrical version.
Yes.
There is a shorter European cut that was the Dario Argento
Zombie?
cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there was the extended version.
Right, with Joe Pilato.
Yes.
Yes.
And a lot of shit in that movie doesn't need to be, like, the extended version just doesn't need to be there.
I pop in the extended version like every couple years just to be like, oh, what did they add? And it's like, okay. Okay, but the theatrical version is my go-to for that one.
I mean, and even if you really want to just keep it brief, just pop in the Argento version.
I never watched. I watched the Argento version once, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, it's a little. It's like what, 20 minutes shorter than the theatrical or something like that.
Here's my question: where the hell does Joe Polito come into this?
Oh, so when they're getting ready to go to the helicopter, there's people who are leaving by boat, right? And Joe Joe Pilato is one of the guys that's leaving on boat. Because I remember seeing his name. I think his name is in the theatrical credits. And I remember being like, Joe Pilato? From Day of the Dead? Where is he?
Well, that's...
Sorry. Signed by Joe Pilato.
Well, that's Ramiro's preferred version is the extended version.
Yeah.
So that's his true vision of it. But again, it's one of those things where it's like it's a take it or leave it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's the worst ever, but it's a cut that I wouldn't pop in.
I think I'm changing this to just bad director's cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's just
Because I don't know, because we'll never watch all of them.
No, and it's just like what Sean was talking about with the crank thing. It's just the pacing is just better in the theatrical version.
Yes. Do you have another one?
Brazil specifically. Terry Gilliam's
okay, I've never seen Brazil.
Brazil's
what
awesome.
is that?
It's like a dystopian future, and this guy basically, he's like a working class citizen who's held down by this totalitarian government, basically.
Do you wake from your finest fantasy, only to return to your daily nightmare?
And I don't want to go too deep into it, and it's kind of hard to because it's the surrealistic look at all these different.
I like Terry Gilliam movies.
Oh, I fucking love it. Have you seen The Man Who Killed Don Quixote yet?
No, I haven't. That's the one he was working on for like 30 years.
I like cried in the theater because it was one of those things.
It came out good?
Yeah. It was,
I thought I didn't see it because I'm like, there's no way this is coming out
dude,
good.
it's awesome. Adam Driver's great. It was just one of those things where like I watched it and it kind of like lit the fire again inside to like make movies and tell stories and stuff. So
The fire rised in with you?
Yes.
The fire rises.
Yes.
That's a quote from a movie.
Nice.
It's a movie I was in. Might have heard of it.
What's it called? Dinosaurs and Cops or
No,
what is
no,
it?
it's called Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, The Dark Knight Rises. Oh yeah.
I was in that. I don't know if you knew that. But anyway. So what's
Never heard of it.
So
Yeah.
Brazil, the alternate cut of Brazil.
Yeah, so the producer or the distributors, Universal was distributing, and there's a European version, and then a U.S. theatrical, and then there was what's called the Love Conquers All cut,
Okay.
and it takes all of the ideas and kind of the whole message of the film and just castrates the whole thing. It completely changes the ending. So periodically throughout the film, our main protagonist has like these dreams of him as like this angel warrior that's like gonna rise above the state.
Yeah.
But at the end, the Love Conquers. So the original. Should I spoil the ending of the movie?
Spoilers for Brazil.
Okay. Well, at the end, it's one of those things where you think he gets out, and there's an uprising and all this stuff, and then it cuts. Well, it doesn't cut directly, but like it's this thing where it's like green screen. And these two doctors walk in, and it's him. It's our protagonist in a chair, and it's like they control his body, but they can't control his mind, kind of thing. It's a pretty powerful ending, right? To that and you just saw him become liberated and all this stuff.
Wow.
So the Love Conquers All cut is his dream state of him in this armor with these wings just flying away with his damsel, and then the fucking movie just ends like he got away or like everything's fine or something.
So they did like the original Blade Runner. They gave it the happy ending with them driving into the woods.
Yeah.
Them driving into the unused shots from The Shining. Apparently,
and
that's what happened in Blade Runner.
All right.
Yeah.
Like
that sounds pretty bad.
Yeah, and all the I think they instated scenes where it like basically explained the plot.
Oh.
And it was a thing where like, oh, you don't need to do that for European audiences.
Yeah.
And American audiences, I guess that's a thing.
Yeah. No, I've heard like directors make alternate cuts for different areas, which I guess makes sense if you want it to play well in a certain area.
But it's a fucking art film. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's
yeah, but if you
really
wanted to make
good.
money, you got to tweak things for certain demographics.
For sure, but not cut out. I think it's like 30 minutes or some shit.
That's
like
a
that.
little rough.
Yeah.
One thing we were actually talking about it. Was that your last one or?
Yeah, that was it. That's the big one.
Well, we can talk about this one because I think we've all seen it. This is kind of like loosely following a director's cut because it was a director's cut. But when they re-released Close Encounters of the Third
Kind, we were talking about that. Yeah.
Spielberg got to go in and like add stuff and add stuff that he wanted to, but the studio said he could only do it if they add in the ending of him going inside the spaceship and seeing inside the spaceship instead of Richard Dreyfuss just going in and taking off.
Was that some exec just like, I really wanted to see the inside, and we're only gonna give you the money if I see the inside of that baby.
It's a good way to get people into the theaters, I guess. It's like, oh, by the way, this time when you see it, they're in the ship.
Like The Exorcist, the version you've never seen.
Yes.
Well, except that's generally speaking a good director's cut, I would argue.
I would say the same. I'm just saying. Like that's the hook. To go
100%. Like, I get to see the inside of the ship. Oh my gosh.
Spider walk.
Does that count as a director's cut version you've never seen? Because I think it's
just reinstated.
Yeah.
Well, again, even to your point, what I was talking about the Brazil, like that was a studio cut.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah.
But against Terry's wishes.
Okay. But yeah, so Spielberg, he reshot the ending for Close Encounters, but it's like a few years later, so Richard Dreyfuss looks different. He like fits in his suit differently.
Weird.
And it's like, here's the thing, like watching it out of context, it's fine. It's a cool model that they made.
Sure.
The effects all look great. There's this really nice shot of him looking up and you see like all the aliens in the windows and it's a cool
All
shot.
the grays. Hey.
Yeah, but you didn't need it. It was better when he just got on the ship and took off. Because it's like, oh, wow, there's a bit of a mystery there.
Sure.
Imagine that.
And nothing we see in there is like amazing. Oh, it's like, okay, there's a big thing in the middle, and then a bunch of lights go into it, and the aliens are looking at him. Cool. Thanks for showing me that. What the fuck? This totally throws off the tone, like the pacing of the ending.
It just cuts to the end of Fire in the Sky.
Oh, and
gets
he's
on.
like,
yeah.
he's getting work done.
Fucking little
God.
things on his eye.
Oh,
Your
God,
favorite
don't
part.
remind me.
Yeah.
The cheesecloth.
Yeah.
Oh God.
The
Yeah. So
membranous,
that one,
sack.
that was like a director's cut, like against his will. He's since gone back and taken that out, but left all the stuff he wanted in. Yeah. If we're ready to move on to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last night I whipped out the Sin City.
Whoa.
Yeah. Recut, extended, and unrated.
I have that. I should fire that up
Yeah.
soon. I haven't seen it in a while.
So I haven't seen it in a while, and I wish I didn't watch it the way I did.
Really?
So, by the way, this is a great DVD set.
Yeah.
It comes with,
Everything.
yeah, it comes with everything.
The original
it comes
comic
with
book.
The Hard Goodbye
Oh, shit.
trade paperback.
That's cool.
Now there is a good cut in this of the green screen version. You can watch the entire movie with just the green screen stuff. And if you don't think I'm not going to add
I was
myself
just
into
gonna
scenes
say.
of Sin City, you got another fucking thing coming.
We gotta shoot it like really good so it looks
Because
seamless.
when they released this, that would have been really hard to do.
Oh,
Now it's really easy
Oh,
to
yeah,
do.
big time.
Yeah, so he recut and extended the scenes, but then the way you're supposed to watch it is that all 4 of the stories are now broken up and self-contained.
I mean, just because? Like, is that something Rodriguez wanted to do?
It sounds like something Frank Miller wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because Rodriguez, when you pop the DVD in, it's like, yeah, you know, they're supposed to be intertwined, but that's not how they are like the comics. So we split it up, and here's the viewing order, and I believe the viewing order is That Yellow Bastard, the Customer is Always Right, The Hard Goodbye, and The Big Fat Kill. That's how you're supposed to watch it in order.
I like that it jumps around.
It's terrible. Now I get like that's what the comics are, and maybe that works for the comics, but the way they were making the movie, they were meant to kind of go back and forth and intertwine a bit.
It's more compelling that way.
Like Pulp Fiction. What if you just saw all of Jules and Verne's story? Then you saw all of fucking Bruce Willis'
No,
story.
because that's not how the movie was designed.
Oh.
Like,
Vince.
it's an interesting like idea to see it, but all that would ever, if you put Pulp Fiction in order, all that would ever do for me is just show how much better the other version is.
100%. That's my
Which-
point.
is
Which
that's
is your
what's going
point.
on
yeah.
here.
Yes. So you start with That Yellow Bastard, and like, I mean, it does kind of work as a short, but then it's just like that story, the way it was designed to be filmed, benefits from being split in half to open. Well, not open the movie, that's the other one.
Sure.
But to like begin the movie and then kind of end the movie on that. That like works really, 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 really well. And then to see it like shoehorned together, it's just kind of whatever. But the worst one is The Customer is Always Right with Josh Hartnett. So it's the scene from the beginning of the film, and then it cuts to the logo, and then it cuts to the end of the movie with him and the Gilmore Girls chick. Like he's about to kill her. But that scene is interesting in the movie because you know what she did in
Right.
the big, what was it, the big kill? The Big Fat Kill. You know what she did. So it's like, oh, that's her comeuppance. But when you watch just these 2 segments back to back, it's like, all right, it's a
Guy who's killing somebody.
it's a boring looking guy who I could never believe this guy was the son of Jamie Lee Curtis. But yeah, it's like, okay,
At least he's got a good haircut in this movie.
yeah, it's like, okay, he kills girls and cashes the check. Cool. And by the way, every single segment has the full credits. So you watch like 4 minutes of Josh Hartnett killing 2 chicks and then full credits.
And then 10 minutes of credits.
yes.
No, it's not that long, right?
Gotta have to click her out the
5
ready.
minutes.
No. But yeah, they just don't work split up. They do not work split up. And then to end it on the big fat kill, and it's like, man, that was the weakest one to end it on.
But that's not the way it was structured.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
No.
like conceived. To
Yeah,
be shot.
and I mean, I think in the original there's some overlap where like Marv dies, but then you kind of see him in another segment because time lies.
Sure.
So there's back and forth and stuff there. But yeah, when you watch them all self-contained, the pacing's not very good. It throws off. He does add some extra scenes. Like he adds an extra scene with Marv's mom. Like he's like sneaking into his old house to get his gun.
Yeah.
Marvin? Is that you, baby?
Yes, Mom. I'm sorry I woke you up.
But yeah, I don't know why they did it. It's not very interesting.
Isn't there another version on there though? There's theatrical, and then isn't there something else?
No,
Or is
it's
it
the
just
original
those two?
theatrical release.
Yeah.
And then the recut, extended and unrated, separated into 4 stories version, and then the green screen cut.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know if a Blu-ray has come out since.
No, I have that set. I thought there was just a different.
Yeah.
A different
But yeah, it's just it's not good. It doesn't flow well. And like this is a movie I really, really like.
Yeah.
So watching it this way, I'm like, oh no, this is awful. Like there's no narrative flow to this. Like Big Fat Kill and Hard Goodbye, I guess they kind of work. Self-contained, kind of, but then you just get like a kind of okay short story. Whereas none of them are really great on their own. The way they were structured for the film, they kind of play off each other.
Yeah, I mean, there's characters from the other stories, and you
Yeah.
get the whole picture by seeing them that way.
That makes me think of too, and it's not like an anthology film at all, or like a Pulp Fiction or Sin City, but the Godfather. I forget what they call it, but the one that's chronological. You guys talked about it on your Godfather episode.
There's a cut where he put it in chronological order, which I think is on my 4K Blu-ray set. I haven't watched it yet, though. I would like to, that's another one where like I like to see that as a curiosity.
Sure.
I think that could work better though than something like this.
Well, a lot of people like it. I know my father-in-law likes it that way, but like it's similar to me at least, where it's like a lot of that back and forth you get in those two movies. Well, you know what I mean. Yeah. It's just like you lose all that, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of cool to see Vito come up through the ranks, but I'm like, I like how the movie is showing parallels between him and his son.
Well, yeah, that's the way that movie was designed, and like I said, it's even Coppola. I don't think has ever been like, that's my definitive vision. He's like, hey, here's like if you're curious,
sure.
And I think again, all it would do is be like, all right, well, I liked it better the other way. That's why I don't like people bitch. I'm like an apologist for Arrested Development season 4. I like how they did the out of like what non-linear stuff, but like fans bitch so much, so he re-edited it to be linear and more like a regular episode, and you now have to find the original version of season 4. But I was an apologist. I really liked it. Season 5 sucks, but season 4 was great.
Was 4 or 5 the one where they had the CGI and green screen everybody in?
That was 4, and I think 5. I think they were able to get them back a little bit easier. But 4, yeah,
it still kind of worked for 4.
Yeah,
I didn't even know they came back for 5. I thought that was the one where they green screened everybody and like shot it in
5
different
came out a
locations.
few years later.
Was that when it was on Yahoo.com?
No, it was still on Netflix, but like no one gave a shit.
Jesus.
Like it was not good. But yes, speaking of Coppola, thank you for bringing up Francis Ford Coppola.
I do what I can.
So I watched.
This is the
I got this out of a hotel recently, a motel.
They're gonna be pissed. They don't have Apocalypse Now.
A motel near Cape May. That apparently still whoever was there left a bunch of. There was no VCR. There were 5 VHS tapes, no VCR. A DVD player, no DVDs. So I was like, all right, well, I'm taking this Zoetrope Studios Apocalypse Now tape. So I watched Apocalypse Now this morning, and I've seen this movie many times. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, I've never seen the theatrical cut. I've only ever seen the Redux.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was looking up the lists, people were like, the Redux is on a lot of the worst director's cut lists. And I'm watching it, I'm just like, I now seeing the theatrical version, I 100% agree with those lists. Because then I skimmed through the Redux. I'm like, this is a worse version of the movie. It's not good. Like how it is in this movie with Robert Duvall is like the crazy guy who basically bombs the village because he wants to go surfing.
Yep.
It ends with his scene ends with that line of him being like, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. And he's like, someday this war will end.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
And it transitions that nice narration where Martin Sheen is like thinking about what he said.
Yeah.
And the Redux, they don't like him, and they steal his surfboard. And then he's following them in a helicopter, being like, please give my surfboard back, please. You don't need fucking that.
No.
And then, you know, there's the famous scene where they have the Playmates at the show in Vietnam.
Yeah, the USO.
Yeah, the USO show. Then later on, they meet up with the Playmates at a different base where, like, the commanding officer, like, blew up, so the troops are just kind of doing whatever.
Yeah.
And, like, the guy in charge of the Playmates starts, like, prostituting the girls out to the guys, and they're, like, clearly on drugs or something, and it's just like, okay, you don't really need this.
There's a social commentary there, but
There is, but there's enough commentary in the movie that
well,
this just felt like weird.
Yeah.
And again, the problem with this, it ruins the pacing and of a tightly, I mean, it's still kind of like a long movie, right?
It's pretty long.
It's like 2 hours at least, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it doesn't feel long. This theatrical cut does not feel long.
I haven't seen it in like 10 years, man.
Yeah.
That's one I need to revisit.
Yeah, so the Playmate stuff is a little useless. And then they go to the plantation, the French plantation.
Oh yeah, I looked that up.
The rubber plantation. And it's just like the French lecturing the American, and I guess they're right about what they're saying. But like it's just them lecturing the Americans for fucking up by being in Vietnam and how they fucked up in the past. And like sure, there's good ideas in there, and then what's his face? Sheen like has like a little love affair with the one girl on the plantation. It's just like this goes on for fucking ever. The Playmate scene and the plantation, I think, adds up to like 40-something minutes of shit that you do not need.
No.
And I've heard it explained where it's like, well, you know, the plantation was the calm before the storm. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, no. The fucking USO show was the calm before the storm.
Right. Well.
The plantation scene starts at like 79 minutes. We don't need any calms before storms at this point in the story.
I mean, it could be argued that it's character building or just to paint the picture of who these guys are exactly and what they're capable of.
But you don't really need it.
I didn't say that you needed it.
I guess
saying it's there if you want it.
It explains like a plot hole. Not a plot hole, but like what did they do with the bodies on the ship?
Yeah.
And of course the puppy disappears during that attack. And I was looking up. People were like, "Where's the puppy? Where's the puppy? Did the puppy live?" And no one knows. The fate in the Redux is still undetermined. But since they do stop at that plantation, it could just be assumed they gave them the puppy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if you want a happy ending for the puppy,
An apocalypse now.
All's well that ends.
Yeah, it was so funny. People were like, "I really want to make sure that puppy's alive." Like that puppy inadvertently caused the death of like an entire family. So I don't really...
Meanwhile, Charlie Sheen's on the ground like, oh, bombs are going up on him, but thank God a puppy lived. I mean, I'm one of those people, Tony, but still.
But yeah, that stuff fucks up the movie so much.
Yeah.
And then you get to Kurtz, Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
Now, famously, Marlon Brando fucked this production up, and they had to film around his fuck up. He showed up extremely overweight for a guy who's supposed to be in, like, where are they, Cambodia or something? Don't they, like... No, they're still in Vietnam, I think.
I'm pretty sure they're in Vietnam.
Because in Vietnam, you know, when people took a stopover in Cambodia. But anyway, he's supposed to be, like, with all these poor villagers and stuff, and I know he is their leader, but it's like, I don't think you get that fat living in these kind of conditions.
It depends. Maybe if he's getting all the food.
Maybe.
He's bulking up for
he showed
island
up,
of Dr. Moreau.
He showed up, yeah. It wasn't as bad as that. He showed up like extremely overweight, not prepared, famously didn't want to memorize his lines.
They have those giant cue cards for him. Like
yeah, they
Godfather.
do. Well, luckily there's a scene like before the ending where he's like reading one of his messages, so it makes sense for him to have a piece of paper.
Yeah.
They were sick of him fucking the lineup. Just give him a piece of paper.
So what they did, and it works super well, they hid him mostly in shadows.
Yeah.
In that film, like he's mostly always in shadow,
the sponge and doing all the
there's like fire on him and light and whatnot. The Redux, there's a scene of him just out in the open broad daylight with all the kids, and it's just like
takes all the mystique out of it.
Yeah, it takes all the mystique, and also it's showing like, well, obviously Martin Sheen's gonna kill this fat fuck. Like it's very obvious he doesn't stand a goddamn chance.
Yeah.
So yeah, all that stuff just it grinds the movie to a goddamn halt. Like when the movie is so tightly wound, the first theatrical cut.
What was the idea behind this? Was it one of those things where Coppola was like, here it is if you want it?
I guess just because when did the Redux come out? Like 2001?
Yeah, it was later. For
So
sure.
this is
Yeah,
remember
but it
all
came
these
out
guys
early 2000s, right?
all these guys were friends together, so he's like, I'm gonna change my movie too. I think it's one of those
I
cases.
mean, didn't he also, correct me if I'm wrong on this, didn't he also do a re-release of Godfather 3 with some minor changes?
He did recently, and I haven't. And I did not watch it yet.
It's like completely recut, isn't it?
Not really, but it's
The
shorter.
ending,
I think
know, he cuts it a little
he moves
different.
scenes around. It's definitely shorter. It's called the Godfather Coda: The Death
Coda,
of Michael Corleone.
yes.
Right, okay.
Ironically, they don't show him actually die at the end. They cut out his actual. The version that's called The Death of Michael Corleone does not show you him actually dying, which I think is something he wanted to do, but the studio was like, you got to show him dying. You can't just have his eyes closed.
Where's my Dracula director's cut?
Wow. Okay.
No, we've seen those deleted scenes. I don't think they need to be back. I don't think we need the Wolfman on the gold robe. Like, oh, look at
I don't know. It says you.
I don't think we need the Wolfman looking thing, like picking the guy up off the beat. Like, a lot of those deleted scenes are bad. Okay.
I wouldn't mind if they were there. Just saying.
So yeah, Apocalypse Now. I don't like the Redux at all, and it's sad that that's the version I've been watching for years. Because I was thinking, I'm like, why don't I watch this movie more? I like it, and then having seen the theatrical, I'm like, I would watch this one all the time. I think it's the Redux where they like land with the Playmates. I'm like, I don't know, fucking fast forward. Yeah, so that's pretty bad. Now, this is another case where there were re-edits since the beginning.
There is, right? There is another cut.
So, he has since gone back and re-edited it. The plantation scene is in there, but it's heavily cut down, I think.
Okay.
Some people think it still overstays its
final
welcome.
cut.
Yeah. However, when the movie released, so he had to demolish all his sets in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So he filmed the demolition of them blowing up the sets. And the movie was going to end like showing these explosions over the credits. But then the audience misread it, and they're like, "Oh, I guess the army came and blew up Kurtz's place and killed everyone." And he's like, "Oh shit, no, that's not what you're supposed to get out of that." So that's why it like cut. It's just black credit. So in the theater, like he had it changed while it was in theaters. He's
God.
like, "Oh no, get that scene out. People are not getting it."
I think, maybe Coppola just had his head screwed on too tight because these movies are so serious all the time. He's not thinking about what general audience they're going to think when they just have out of context explosions to every set in the movie.
Again, that's an artistic choice that is just misinterpreted.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I'm just saying, what did he expect?
His movies aren't always serious. Didn't you see Jack?
Didn't you see? You know when Bill
Watch
Cosby?
Big, thank you very much.
You know when Bill Cosby farts in the can and they light it on fire?
Bill Cosby.
In Jack.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't remember
Bill
that at all.
Cosby.
Yeah.
He's in Jack.
I'm almost
Ghost Dad himself?
I'm almost positive. Look it up real quick.
Make sure. Let's make sure before it like turns out it was.
They're in the
like,
treehouse, and he farts in a fucking coffee can, and they light it on fire. He's a good tutor.
Okay, Bill Cosby is in Jack.
Okay, there you
but
go.
I don't know if he's in that scene.
Oh, he is farting in a fucking coffee can in a treehouse with those little boys.
Jessica
and Robin Williams.
Jessica, if you're not too tired from digitally replacing my rifle with a walkie-talkie, show the clip of Jack. Does Bill Cosby fart into a jar?
He farts into a coffee can.
I know the farting scene. I just don't remember Bill Cosby being there.
Oh my God, I hope
Maybe
it's Bill
you saw
Cosby.
the extended cut of Jack.
Is the grandma from fucking Mafia there saying a scoozy? Let's get all the fart jokes out of our systems.
And now to make sure I didn't screw that up. Hold on.
That's the one takeaway that I had. And that from Jack and the end where he's like old as shit. And
Okay, good. Francis Ford Coppola did the direction.
Okay.
Because I always remember that movie. I'm like, that's a Coppola movie. I always forget that.
Weird. And I also realize that it's not the same thing as Big. Anyone that was confused at me saying that, but I'll take Big.
Yes.
What was Tom Hanks' problem in that movie?
Well, he got transformed into an adult.
Oh,
in
that's
Jack,
right.
he just is a big kid.
Well, he
Yeah,
ages.
he's, like,
He's like
aging,
he's
too.
like
Yeah,
reverse Benjamin
yeah.
Button.
Which there is like a real condition like that, but it doesn't play out like it does in the movie. You don't just look older. Like it's
Yeah.
a whole thing. Anyway, those were some bad director's cuts. There might have been a few that we missed. I know a lot of people don't like The Abyss with the extended ending.
I think that's okay because I want to know more about that and I want to see more of that.
I guess. I just don't like the clip show that he plays for them. The aliens are like, look at our perfectly edited clip show of how you're bad guys and we made a big wave.
We're jellyfish.
I don't
It's
know
like,
any
cool.
of this.
But apparently people said, I think with that case, it's not the, because I think people who watch the special edition of The Abyss, they like everything but the ending. So it's one of those
Yeah,
where
okay.
it's just like,
Understood.
but that was an ending he chose, kind of like Spielberg, you know, it was forced to have that.
Right.
But yeah, these are bad directors or extended cuts, whatever. That was our bad director's cuts.
Can we come back and do our favorite director's cuts?
You'll be here all day long.
This is.
And
also
I bet you it's going to be the Beowulf director's cut, Robert Zemeckis, which I have.
There's a movie that I need to see.
Let us know.
Do you really?
I need the morbid curiosity.
What do you think is a bad director's cut of a film? We did ours, E.T., Mallrats, Sin City. Oh, you know what? We didn't. None of us had time to watch it, but we didn't watch the funny version. The director's cut funny version of House of the Dead by Uwe Boll.
It can only be an improvement. It can only be an improvement.
Do we get several flashbacks, like in a Naruto episode where it zooms into the fucking eyeball and I see scenes that we already saw 5 fucking minutes ago? We reviewed this movie on Movie Dumpster like in our first season. Go check it out.
You
Movie
didn't
Dumpster
review the
Podcast
funny version?
No.
Movie Dumpster Podcast at Gmail. Fuck me. MovieDumpsterPodcast.com. God damn it, Tony.
I'm sorry.
Fucking up my plugs.
Can we do House of the Dead funny version on Movie Dumpster?
Sure.
We're just adding in air bubbles and commentary.
Like pop-up video?
As we're talking about the movie, we have someone on commentary talking over
And it's like,
us.
and here we have 3 middle-aged white guys talking about a movie nobody gives a shit
Can
about.
I do a fucking somersault in the air, land on a trampoline, go be midair, get my fucking legs shot off, and then still have the energy to bite somebody as they're trying to get into the House of the Dead?
The idea that you were telling me of him just like talking randomly over the movie is ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's also a whole scene where like they catch a giant fish or some shit on the boat with Clint Howard.
There's like a
Look at this big boy.
there's a man meter whenever there's like babes on the screen.
Well, it's sponsored by Sega. That
Yeah.
party in the beginning.
I think Movie Dumpster needs to revisit this, and I think we need to do funny versions.
I think I probably will enjoy it because that's like that's my most hated episode that we've done.
Well, we're gonna fix it. We're doing a director's cut, guys. This time we're fixing it.
Movie Dumpster Season 1, Episode 18?
Something like
We're
that.
recutting.
Director's cut.
I want it to be Movie Dumpster House of the Dead episode funny version.
What a title. That'll really do great.
Unrated.
Unrated funny version.
With Tony.
And people be like, wait, what did they do?
They'll say, who's Tony? You leave out Hack the Movies for some reason, really get people confused.
Yeah, just Tony.
With Tony.
With Tony.
Anyway, that is it from us. Let us know what you think is a bad director's cut. Let us know if you disagreed with our choices. Maybe you like Redux. Maybe you like the 10 seconds they added in Crank. Maybe you like the Love Conquers All version of Brazil.
You can fuck right off.
I think maybe you love the Star Wars Special Edition. I found out from my comments section, a lot of people like those special editions, which I'm still wrapping my brain around. But yes, let us know. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Follow Movie Dumpster also. Sign up for Hack the Movies Patreon. Sign up for our mailing list. Give us a call. We love hearing your voice. And I guess that's it from us.
Yeah.
Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
See ya.
I don't think it's loading.
Stop. Don't stop. It's gonna
Why?
go off.
Go!
We are waiting for the Dark Souls of fighting games. Let us have it. We're ready.
Soul Edge has nothing on a lightsaber. Like, I'm sorry.
James Earl Jones comes back.
No!
Oh no! Oh!
I don't think kids trade games anymore. I need that sense of accomplishment, and it wasn't there. And I think that was a major flaw.
The way they engineer these is just phenomenal.
As much as you're into like the comics, I was very into the toys, so I was on like the message board all the time.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.
Talking about tapes.